Kay wants to travel to an unidentified Southeast Asian country to join her schoolmates on a tour. Her brother reluctantly agrees to let her go, going against the wishes of their mother. While there, Kate is attacked by a swarm of centipedes, and a few days later, she dies a horrible death in hospital. Her brother travels to the unidentified Southeast Asian country to bring her ashes back to Hong Kong, and while he's there, he meets up with an old school friend who helps him to investigate what the cause of his sister's death was. However, the friend gets possessed by a shaman who is desperate to get revenge on the brother and his family for a terrible incident that occurred 50 years prior. Hello everyone and welcome back to SHOCKMANIA and welcome to Krazy Klassiks, now spelt with a K, because everything with a K is so much cooler and also very 90s, and the 90s were fantastic. This movie though is not from the 90s. This movie is from the 80s and it's very, very typically Hong Kong. So let's check out a little bit more about it. If you're ever looking for an insane horror movie from the 70s or 80s, it's hard to go past the vast Hong Kong catalogue of schlock. From Shaw Brothers classics like Black Magic, Human Lantern, Seeding of a Ghost and more, to films from independent companies like Nico. They're the group behind this film, and there certainly are some wild films for you to enjoy. One of the problems with these movies is the storyline is so wild, unbelievable and hard to follow that you usually just give up trying to remember what happened 10 minutes ago and just enjoy the ridiculous ride it takes you on. For example, in this film, the main character travels from Hong Kong to unidentified Southeast Asian country, which we find out is Singapore, obviously, for the time. So quickly that it kind of keeps hard to keep track of where he is in the movies. For example, one moment he's talking to his mother, the next he's visiting a man to fix his sister's smashed urn. Now, for those of you wondering if this is a movie that you might want to check out, just be forewarned that this movie does come in two flavors, the original uncut and the animal cruelty-free version. Now, as someone who doesn't enjoy watching animals being killed for cinema, I chose the cruelty-free version. Now, on later inspection of the uncut copy, because I don't know why I had to check it out, I later discovered that what was removed seemed to be the sacrifice of the chicken. So I'm kind of glad that's gone, even though I like chicken. This scene leads to another typical trope for Hong Kong horror movies of the time, a long, out of place scene of female nudity. Now, I'm not a prude, but when it comes to about 5 minutes of nudity, even I think that's a little bit too much. I have to question when a woman is nude for no real reason on screen for that long. Hex did the same thing, and it really didn't add much to the film. Now, the great thing is that this movie was made at a time when CGI was not a thing, so it's got a lot of practical effects mixed in with some optical effects, which are definitely the order of the day. And we get some doozies in this film. Live centipedes crawling over a very still actor. Have to say, this must have taken a lot of courage to do, because there's no way in hell I'd be doing it. There's the wild makeup effects on Kay when she's decaying in the hospital bed. The awesome use of double vision when the possessed woman gets out of the car and transcends into the spiritual plane. There's the cool invisible effect of the shaman's ghost children. Just check out this scene of how they eat the rice. And some great use of puppetry being suspended by almost invisible fishing wire. Almost invisible. The 70s and 80s were a very creative time. For more references, check out The Oily Maniac and some of the effects in that one. Now, speaking of production values that are very uniquely Hong Kong, this movie also features the whiplash zoom. Zooming has really gone out of fashion in modern horror movies, or in fact modern movies at all, but Hong Kong was always famous for it. Watch any 70s kung fu movie and you will see a heap of them. This movie uses zooms usually at the beginning of a new scene. A close-up of a monkey or a tower zooms out to reveal a jungle or the entrance to the airport. And when I see stuff like this, I know I'm definitely watching a Hong Kong film. But it's really hard to go past the fast-paced storyline. When Kay is admitted to the hospital, she's with a friend who's wearing glasses. There's a throwaway line that the friend died of a heart attack due to shock. Such an amazing revelation because we never see any of this. And then she's just forgotten about. I mean, she's got a family too. There's also all the coincidences that only happen in horror movies. When the girls get the grass jelly, it just so happens to be from a man who survived the village fire set by her grandfather. This man recognizes the pendant that she's wearing and just instantly assumes that she's related to him. You know, there's no chance that she might have just picked it up off the side of the road or bought it in a secondhand store. No. In the 80s, I don't think anyone cared about stuff like this. But nowadays, just is lazy. But I can forgive most of that because this movie is definitely a product of its time. That doesn't mean it's not enjoyable. It just means a suspension of disbelief beyond the normal suspension is required to enjoy it, and an iron stomach to put up with the vomiting and potential animal violence depending on which version you watch. I'm not going to judge you if you decide to go for the uncut version with the animal violence in it, but yeah, I am going to judge you. There's probably no need to see that bit. And I know we all love to watch uncut movies, but sometimes you got to think, is there a point to it? Anyway, using the patent pending ghost rating, which does stand for great horror or stupid trash, I give this 2 ghosts. And it's 2 ghosts mostly because of the incoherent storyline. Otherwise, it's not a bad film. This is one of those examples where either the movie needed to have an extra 15 minutes to just pad out a couple of scenes, or a better edit to get rid of unnecessary scenes. And I don't feel that too many scenes were unnecessary, other than the gratuitous nudity and animal violence, but there's just sometimes a lack of linking between the scenes that you're mostly used to by now. And again, that's what you got to remember. This movie is a product of the time that it was made, and at that time, Hong Kong was just pumping stuff out to fill up cinemas. So enjoy it if you can find it. I am the Artie Dance, and you are watching SHOCKMANIA and Krazy Klassiks. Remember, that's with a K, and I think there might be too many Ks. So I might need to review how that looks. Anyway, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Special thanks to channel members. Your names are on the screen right now. And I'll catch you next time. Oops, what did I just do?